Hello, welcome back. For those of you that are new here, my name is Kristen Lankford. I am a pre-K teacher in Florida. In today's video, I am going to be sharing how I set up my conference night and some tips for you guys for things that you can do for your conference night. Okay, so today is my actual conference night. I'm in between some conferences, so I figured I would hop on here and give you guys some tips, some tricks, some things that I do, and anything that might help you guys for your conferences. Our conferences this year are virtual, which I'd rather them be in person. It's definitely better to build that relationship with parents when you are in person, but we're doing the best we can through virtual. Last year we had to do them through the program Zoom. However, this year our district has moved over to Microsoft, and included in that is Microsoft Teams. So it's still a digital platform, but we are using Teams for our conferences. The first tip that I could say that I find to be of most value is sending home a pre-conference form for the parents to write down any questions that they could possibly have. I feel like that is very important because it kind of gives you a heads up if there's anything that maybe is not going well for those parents or that family, or even it gives you a heads up if they don't feel like there is any concern. So maybe you are doing a good job already communicating, but nonetheless it gets that information out there so that you can prepare better for answering those questions that they might have, instead of them asking it at the conference and then you panicking oh no, and get nervous. Maybe it's just me, but that would happen to me. I'd be like, oh gosh. So I actually have a form of a student in my class whose parents already filled this out, but just to show you, it is a pre-conference survey, and on the front it just gives directions. It says, in order to address all of your questions and concerns as well as make the conference meaningful for you and your child, please take a moment to fill out this pre-conference form. I am looking forward to meeting with you all. Thank you. And then the 3 questions that I ask is, what is your child's attitude towards school? Very important to know if they enjoy school, if they aren't loving school. Maybe mornings are rough, and maybe that's why when they come to class, our mornings are also rough. Number 2 is, are there any questions that you have about your child's schooling? That's the one I was talking about. That way, if they do have something that they want to address, like a lot of parents say, how can we help at home? Or how is my student behaving in class? Those are the top ones that we usually get. And then number 3, are there any concerns that you would like me to know about? And that can include concerns that are happening at home. Maybe there's a home life issue where, I don't know, this is really sad, but a pet passed away and maybe they're really sad about it. Or it could be a concern of in your classroom, the kid comes home every day and says so-and-so is messing with them. At least when it's on the pre-conference form, you can kind of gather your information and then present it nicely during the conference. All right. So I send those home about a week and a half before conferences. Another thing that I use that really helps with conferences, number 2 tip, is using Sign Up Genius. It is a free web page, and you just make a little, kind of makes a web page for you. You type the day of your conference, the times that are available, and then you send the link out to families, and then they can pick what time out of your availability works for them. Before I learned about Sign Up Genius, I would send home a form with all the times, and they would pick their top 3 times, and then I would have to circle which one I chose for them and then communicate that to them. But using Sign Up Genius has changed the world. I still send home a reminder form, but Sign Up Genius does that for you as well. They send a reminder email before the event, and then the parents get that email to say, oh yeah, conference night is coming up. So definitely tip number 2 would be to use Sign Up Genius to get those parents to sign up for the available time. Okay, number 3 is the sandwich. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this before, but the sandwich is so important. The sandwich is when, the way you are communicating to the families. Sometimes conferences aren't lovey-dovey, they're not the best knowledge. Sometimes kids are struggling, and we have to communicate that because we're a team with the parents and the teachers. But nobody likes to hear all negative things about their kid, and no kid is just negative things, you know? So the sandwich is starting with a positive, giving those positives, what the kid is good at, what the kid has improved on, something really happy, right? And then kind of giving something that they could make more improvement on or something that they're working on, and then following it up with something else that is positive. It just kind of lessens the load a little bit on the parents, because I mean, I'm sure you can imagine you would never want to go to a conference and hear, your kid is throwing chairs, your kid isn't listening, your kid is hitting his friends, and your kid knows no letters and sounds. Like, those things might be true, but there's better ways to say it. Your student is doing so good coming into school and having a happy attitude in the mornings. Sometimes he's getting a little frustrated and throwing a chair, but we are really working on fixing that behavior and understanding what else they can do when they're frustrated. What are some things that you do at home? Are you seeing these frustrations at home as well? And really like building that communication with the family to make them know that we are a team. It's not, your child. It's, are you seeing this? I'm seeing this. How can we help the student? Okay, so tip 1 is those pre-conference surveys to get yourself prepared. Tip 2, sign up Genius. And then tip 3, the sandwich of communication. Those are like my top 3 tips. I feel like there might be more throughout it, but those things are number 1. Also, being organized. I can't say it enough, but especially when the parents are in front of you, having all your stuff together, so helpful. I use a folder, which I'll show you in a minute, and I keep all the things that I need for the conference in there, even if it's digital. That way I just have everything that I could possibly need to share with that family right in front of me, and I'm not like getting up and picking up a writing sample or getting up and being like, oh, let me show you this, you know. You have it all ready, you're organized, and you're ready to go, because the worst thing is that you start talking to a parent and it looks like you don't know what you're talking about or you're not prepared, because we always have a lot going on, but you just want to show them that you are prepared. So let me show you some of the things that I do and I use for tonight to make my conferences flow. So I have like a ton of stuff on my table, but this I put this here to cover up my kids' names, but I just use this form. It says conference schedule, student name, and time, and I write their name and then I write what time their appointment is. That way I can keep track and know what I have going on, because conference night, you know, we also have time to eat or maybe do something else. I just put that here. If I slide this over a little bit, I write check marks when I've completed the conference. That way I know it's over. And then on my paper, I can keep track of that as well. So I use this, and if I had an in-person conference, I would put one of these at my table as well as on the door. But it's not in person, so when I sent my team's invite, I just copied this schedule into the email so that parents know what time they have. Again, for like the 3rd reminder. As far as having all the materials, ready to go, this is the folder that I have. This box is just for you to write the kid's name on. That's what I use it for. Conference folder, and I use it for the whole year just to keep all the papers together. I covered the kid's name, that's why there's a sticky note. And then inside, got bent a little bit. Inside, this is the form that I use to show the families. It just says conference notes. I put the name, and then the date again and the time. And then I have different areas. So here for my social emotional, these are the skills that we worked on this 9 weeks. Listens, focuses attention, and then I just circle always, sometimes, rarely. This just gives me a talking point. Obviously I add more examples to it for the family. Like if I say, you know, your child is listening a lot on the rug when we're reading stories, they're focusing their attention. Sometimes they have a little bit of a distraction with a toy, but overall they're doing really well. That sandwich effect, you know? So I just go through the list, and then over here, reading and writing, I'm giving the letter ID that they know, lowercase letters that they know, using those books appropriately, participating in conversations about books during circle time, and then writing their name. So these are just those skills that, you know, we're obviously working on through the 9 weeks, and I'm picking them out. So next time I have conferences, these skills are going to be different for what we've been working on that 9 weeks. Next one is fine motor skills. I have this image right here just to show them how their child is holding the pencil, if they can cut a straight line, if they are coloring neatly, and if they can manipulate small objects like our beads or our tweezers and the sensory bin, things like that. Then over here, I have my math skills, how high they can count, and then 1-to-1 correspondence to 10 we worked on this time, recognizing and naming the numbers to 5, naming shapes we've been doing, and then colors. So those are the skills, once again, only for this 9 weeks. We have a million other skills, but that's just what we've learned so far. Obviously in pre-K we don't have report cards, so I'm just working on the standards that we have focused on this 9 weeks. Down here I can add extra stuff, or if we're talking during the conference and the parents have something to say, I can type that in as well. But I do know that I needed to share with them the VPK assessment that we give and the information that goes with it. Underneath, I have my signature, which is just typed out, and then a spot for the parent's signature. Then I also put in here this, which is their data folder that I have on my Teachers Pay Teachers. I've shown you guys. And I just have this on here. That way, when I'm talking about it, I have the data to show them as well. So I show them those letters and the shapes, and then I'm sending this home with the conference form so that that data can be shown and the growth can be shown as well. As you can see here, you know, I didn't assess all these skills. I only assessed the ones that we've gone over so far. In the beginning, could count to 10 right away, and then we added some new skills throughout the learning. I also use a color code system, so I would have used the red color crayon for the beginning of the year. Obviously, he didn't know any letters in the beginning of the year, so there was nothing colored in. Then at the end of the first quarter, I used orange and I colored those new letters in. So at the end of the second quarter, when I reassess him again, I will use yellow and color in the new letters and then put the total of the new letters and then make a goal from there. All right, and then like I said, I do send home a paper reminder in addition to the Sign Up Genius. So I just write their name and then what time they're scheduled, conferences at, and I send it home the night before in their binder. All right, so that is how I run conferences. I try to keep it as organized as possible. Doing it digital is a little bit harder, I will be honest. I'm doing the best we can here. In the past, when I taught first grade, I did student-led conferences as well. Unfortunately, with COVID, I didn't even have an opportunity to attempt a student-led conference with pre-K students, but I have confidence that they could do it too. It's not gonna be as detailed as a parent-teacher conference, but it's gonna let the kids take ownership of their binder that they have and go over the colors with their family and share their favorite play center in the classroom and all these ideas I have. However, we have to be allowed on campus first to do student-led conferences. Or, I mean, I guess I could like record the kids sharing into the camera and then send it with the parents. That would be pretty cute, but also a lot of work. Anyways, I need to go because I need to conference with my families. I have like 7 more conferences left tonight and then I will be done. And then we just keep that information and we meet again. I think we have 3 conferences a year, but you are only required to have 2 in our district. So in the middle, I might not meet with every family, especially some of my students who have IEPs. If I just had an IEP meeting with that family, I don't need to meet with them for a parent-teacher conference because an IEP is basically the same thing. Anyways, if you like this video and if it helped you in any way, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Click that subscribe button and that notification bell, and I will see you very soon. Bye.